Welcome to the Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 322 of Ecentralian's favorite podcast. Jeremiah Morrill, joined by running coach, life coach. What else? What other titles do you want to give him today, Dakota?
Local politics expert.
Local
City of Newcastle.
Yeah, the most intimidating man on the city council, Zach Burcham, our executive video audio producer, engineer, and my forever co-host, Mr. Dakota Davis.
Today's episode features Mr. Mark Fultz, the expert tattooist hailing from Greenfield, Indiana. But we are not going to be talking to Mark about tattoos or his profession today. Instead, we have more fun things planned. We're going to be talking to you guys about Thanksgiving, the foods that we love, the foods that we hate, and any kind of family traditions we have. And then it has also been 60 years since the CIA killed John F. Kennedy. So we're going to be talking about
Mark
that.
Fultz, noted JFK expert. Mark Fultz is here to give us the real story. So,
and that was the day Dakota made it on a list. Your file just popped up.
60 years ago
If I'm not
tomorrow.
on the list at some point, listen, my Instagram Reels is full of Alex Jones. There's no way I'm not on the list already.
This show is about the views represented do not reflect that of the network or anybody other than Dakota Davis. If it comes out of his mouth, he is the one going to Guantanamo Bay. This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you, other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully, you'll learn something new.
We'll look forward to NSA joining Patreon so they can get the Tinfoil Times episodes from back in the day.
Yeah.
I can't believe this wasn't a tinfoil time. I'm looking at the calendar, trying to decide what we're going to talk about this week, and I'm like, oh my God, we have to. It's like 60 years ago right now. This week, we have to.
It's going to be pretty funny whenever we get to that segment of the show because my views on it are actually quite reasonable and not that conspiracy-oriented.
Well, we know Zach's the good Democrat in the room, so I'm sure he's going to be. He's wearing his RFK T-shirt over there right now. Actually,
that would make him a very bad Democrat. Actually, in today's
that guy seems like he's insane.
I actually like him. So
yeah, Dakota's all in.
I wouldn't say all in.
What did we learn in Patreon today, Dakota Davis?
How can we not give away what we talked about? We learned about
Mark has graduated.
A lot of people want it smaller. That's what we learned about.
Mark's graduated from pigs
Weird to say, though.
to Dakota. No, not when not when it's your first time.
The game that we play every week, Mark, is trying to say what we talked about in Patreon without giving it away to the people who don't pay for it.
Rob Kendall's watching from Brownsburg. Andrew Bowman says, what if JFK's head just flew off on its own? That's the CIA, probably. So, yeah, it's going. The chat room is going great. They love you very much, Dakota. If you do join the Patreon at $50 or more a month, you get a little rep at the top of every episode. From Fort Wayne, Indiana, the wonderful, incredibly talented Christy Avery, the most generous person I know. I know that Sarah got to hang out with her last weekend at the Rupert's Kids fundraiser at Mount Comfort RV. I heard that was the largest one they've ever had. She's your Norwix dealer up in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
She is. Check out her Facebook page for links to her Norwix site.
John Phillips of Andy Moore Buick GMC, Fishers, Indiana. And Anthony Meyer, who is, I saw him on the internet today telling us that the way that we can solve the problems on the interstates is to take the governors off of semis. Because I said, hey, you don't like the way NDOT does things, the way stuff's going, you just wait, because Wayne County is going to be under construction for a decade on I-70. And his solution is, he said, don't go out in that third lane. Just take the governors off of trucks and let them speed. And when you let them speed, everything will be fine. That's his solution. That's his. He's a patron. He can have that. I think he's horribly wrong, but that's his solution. He wants just 90-mile-an-hour semis running down the interstate.
My governor's set at 70, so it's kind of an interesting thing. I can get onto the interstate and just keep the pedal like not to the floor, but like
just keep it buried.
Just keep it buried, and it'll just stay 70 like I've got cruise control on. So that's kind of nifty. But I don't know. Maybe there's some merit to that. Set all semis governors to the exact same.
No,
so that
because they get side by side.
We don't want to have this game of one going 1 mile per hour faster than the one in front of it.
Yeah.
They sit next to each other from Post Road to Ohio, and you get 24 miles deep of traffic side by side. It's like they're packed up at Daytona, and then you have the big wreck down the backstretch.
More times than you would think, I have gotten to Knightstown before I can use my cruise control because I'm behind 2 semis. They need to have a way that, like a Mario Kart mode, where they can hit a button and like suck speed,
push the
like,
pass.
like yeah. So like collectively,
Need a
there's
DRS
collectively there's a governor at 65, but if you get close enough to a guy, you get to go 70, and he only gets to go 60.
If you
so
can
you can like
tailgate him,
steal 5 miles an hour of his just
Yeah.
to get the pass done.
What if the one in front of them hits the button for the slippery banana first?
Oh.
Then just as long as they don't. I mean, I'm with Jeremiah though. Not like, can you imagine what happened? Just like as many semi-wrecks as there are now, but give
Just
them
gonna send 40
give them another 15 to 20 miles an hour of
we're going to
inertia.
send 40 tons down the road at
Just-
88 miles an hour and see if they
Yeah.
can go back to 1955.
My mother-in-law one time had the suggestion of, what if we just take semis and we make their own roadways for them and get them off of the interstates? And I said, we've tried that before, and it turns out to be much more inconvenient, and they are called trains.
Yeah, I've wondered that too. If there just was like give them their own lane and just
I think the
Yeah.
perfect solution. This is not what we're supposed to be talking about.
But there's
tonight.
signs everywhere that say trucks right lane only.
yeah.
Well, they have to
Doesn't
be able
work.
to pass. You need 3 lanes, middle lane,
But why do
and
they
right
need
lane.
to pass if their governor's set to 65?
Because you still have to be able to pass.
That's
If
a
I'm
perfect
a
world
camper
right
going
there.
55 miles an hour, they need to be able to get around me at
Now,
65.
here's what could in theory happen with the advent.
Pay 'em by the
with,
hour.
With the advent of like GP. Man, trucking companies would be bankrupt because I think that they abuse the heck out of truckers in terms of, oh, well, you're off work. Well, I'm in the middle of a truck stop and there's nothing within 300 miles. You're off work. It's
Yeah.
not our problem. But
They get paid by the
with
mile.
the advent of like GPS, I think that's a lot more feasible than like an actual speedometer-based governor. Because what happened then is they'd be off by a little bit because this guy's got new tires that have that much more tread on them and
Right.
bound
Yeah,
a big old
and
so,
weight.
Yeah, just the weight
Dakota
of
has
it.
a
weight
CDL, and
distribution.
he's just spitting untruths. What are you going to do on hills when the guys literally can't do the 65 miles an hour?
The most common thing is that people familiar with Newcastle,
Yeah.
right before the
Everybody
exit,
can.
there's a dip. And what happens invariably is the truckers don't know what's coming, and they turn, they get in the left lane to pass a guy, and then they get to the bottom of
everybody's
the hill.
going 47 miles an hour with anxiety out the ass
And,
trying
well,
to get
then
off
they get to the bottom. They get to the bottom, and they're coming up, and now they've lost all their steam, and it's just over.
Am I wrong, Mark?
No, you're so right.
This is the crisis.
I almost never
I'm
take
in-
it, but as
I'm
soon
in
as you
the
said
left
that, I'm like,
lane,
yeah,
I'm in the
been
left
there.
lane, and now the trucker's in my way, and I don't know if I can get over. And then it's just,
Oh yeah, yeah. You have to
it's
plan
every
like a
time,
mile and a half ahead.
every
whether or
time,
not-
and then you find yourself going, all right, I'm not going to get over this time, and you're climbing the hill, and you're going 43, and you're like, I could have passed this guy 10 minutes ago.
I used to get off at Nicetown and go back roads in because it was more enjoyable than staying on the interstate because I was like, well, these two semis are never going to pass each other. So it was faster for me to get on
Lot
Greensboro
sportier.
Pike.
Plus, Greensboro Pike, you could just die killing a deer. All right.
We love our truckers. The world would come to a standstill without them.
Thanks, Anthony Meyer, for your continued support. 10 minutes of bitching about Anthony. Well, this has been a great episode so far.
His
Thanks.
money's worth.
Thanks so much. You're wrong in every way, but we do love you. If you want some merch, jump on bosshogliberty.com. And,
Listen, I just advocated for him to be paid by the hour. He'd be a rich, rich man if my
Look, yeah,
ideas
that
were
would-
put-
he
would.
works for himself. If he really applied himself and had 2 or 3 logbooks, he could be a millionaire.
Yeah. And a couple fake IDs.
He's
Call-
got an inflatable doll as his team driver. This is Ursula. All right. Thanksgiving is coming up on Thursday. The goal of this show, we do it early. One, because I'll be in Greater Atlanta when we're definitely not coming in here on Thursday. But tomorrow's the busiest travel day of the year. This gives y'all something to listen to, something to laugh at. something to entertain you as you're stuck behind those two trucks going 62 miles an hour in the lanes in front of you on I-70. But this is our prep for Thanksgiving. We're getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the. I don't know. Are you guys? You got your turkeys out on the counter? Are you thawing your turkeys?
Are
any of us involved in the actual preparation of any of our food?
No, sir.
Yeah, but not turkey. I don't really do anything. My wife does it.
This is the first year in 3-4 years that I've not been the host.
You're not hosting, eh?
Yeah.
So
Same, actually. I just now thought of that. I
Really?
got out of it this year.
you got out of
But
it.
I think
Was there now? I got to be careful. Was there a death? Is this a happy I got out of it?
No, it's
Or
just,
did we bury somebody? There's been a change, and we have to tiptoe around it now for the next half an hour.
no, none of that. Is just no, like, perfect schedules couldn't line up. So it was like if one person wasn't coming, then another person wasn't coming. And then at that point, our family's so small. So it's like,
What's the point?
what's the point? I was like, I don't care. I was like, you guys come here for an hour, and then you go back home. And I'm like, there's no point in all this preparation if you guys are just going to come here for an hour and dip out.
So are you not? Have you canceled Thanksgiving? You're going
As
Christmas
far as,
with
like,
the
with,
cranks. There's
like-
no meal.
As far as like with my immediate family, yes, for the most part. My mom is supposedly doing something, but it's like it's very small. It's not like it was when we were kids by any means. But I think we're gonna do a Christmas Thanksgiving thing, like at the beginning, like the first 2 weeks of December. Just batch do it, call it done.
I think this is the 5th year where my family has traveled to Georgia for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So it's like this multiple step. Like you drive halfway there on Wednesday night, then we actually get there on Thursday morning and get there in time for lunch, and then come back home on Sunday.
Sounds rough.
Yeah, it'll be all right. I've gotten used to it now.
Yeah.
But there are people driving in from like New Hampshire. So Sarah was like, "Yeah, they got
Oh
an
my
18-hour
God.
drive," and I'm like, "What? 18 hours?"
Why wouldn't you fly?
I guess, I mean, if you got a couple of kids, it becomes pretty cost prohibitive. It's the most expensive, busiest time of the year to travel. If you guys remember Southwest Airlines last Christmas, flying during the holidays is just like, hey, do you want to spend 3 days at the airport?
No.
I guess that could happen.
Yeah, I wasn't.
That
aware
way,
of
if it
any
all
of that.
goes south, you can just get back in your car and leave too.
True.
No,
I guess so
'cause
if
it-
you get pissed off halfway down, you're like, nope,
yeah,
I'm
freedom
done.
to leave.
Yeah.
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 But you fly and it's like, all right, I'm going to change. But if you're from New Hampshire, change planes in Chicago, and then you just get stuck in Chicago for 4 days.
Yeah, well,
Close to
and then
nobody.
you have to get a rental car when you're there, or you're
You're
just
at
at
somebody
the
else's
mercy
mercy.
of somebody else either giving you a car, which can make you nervous,
Or you've got an Uber.
or you got So
That-
I haven't flown. Well, the last time I flew somewhere was I had to cross an ocean, so I wasn't gonna drive. So
I've said that. I've said
Not
that
possible.
yeah, it was not possible.
I've said that about my cruise from San Juan coming up in February. I've looked at the map every way possible, turned it sideways, turned it upside down. I cannot drive there from here.
Yeah.
I have to get on an airplane. Otherwise, we're driving.
Our Thanksgiving plans have changed dramatically. Last week at this time, if you had asked me, I would have told you that Audrey and I and Jackson were going to my grandma's house, and it was just going to be the four of us, and we were going to hang out. Possibly my uncle and his wife would come, but we didn't know for sure then. And then now, I have my in-laws' Thanksgiving to do on Thursday, my parents' Thanksgiving to do on Thursday, and then going to my grandma's house on Friday, where my aunt and uncle, my cousin, my parents, and my sister and her husband will be. So it's
Are these all traditional Thanksgiving meals?
the one at my grandma's is.
Okay.
Yeah, you said you have steak and lobster. I'm like,
Yeah, my parents, they were like,
I didn't
what do you
get that
guys want to
invite."
do? You want to do like a surf and turf steak and crab legs, or do you guys want to do soup and sandwiches? It was like, what kind of question?
Whoever would say so.
Why did they even give you the second option?
I was nice. I said, I'm good with
I was
you
thinking.
there.
I was
s-
thinking just hot dogs with mac and cheese.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My dad found a place where he can get really cheap crab legs. My dad works in Ohio half the time, in Cincinnati, so he found a place over there where he can get crab legs pretty cheap. So all through the summer it has
Is
been.
he buying from a guy named Jameis Winston?
It's the Newport
That-
Aquarium.
Yes.
Pick your own.
You have to sneak him out, but about
a-
once a week they'll replace him.
He's crabbing in the Ohio River. But
Enjoy
anyway, so
your
the-
seafood.
This has got 15 legs.
over the summer, it's been a thing where we've had a lot of crab this summer because of that. I think he gets it for $4.80 something a pound. It's pretty cheap. So
Yeah.
So it sounds like as a group we have some varying traditions. It's not the same. It's not the same as when you were all kids, right? It's always different.
No, it's
right.
totally different.
See, when I was a kid, it was always the same. Every year we did the same thing. We went to Tennessee, visited my dad's family, and for a few days, and then came home. That was it. That was my whole, like, from the time I was a little kid up until I was like 19 or maybe even 20. And then all of a sudden it changed. My great-grandmother fell ill, which is where the Thanksgiving took place. And then ever since then, it's just been this
One key funeral and it all falls apart.
right. This hectic.
Yeah.
She was the glue that held
Yeah.
the whole thing together.
My side of the family has been, it's the same. I don't think that my dad's family really did much that I recall. We always go to my aunt's house. Still going to my aunt's house. I just added now my wife's family, which technically is two. They think it's a great idea to do a breakfast on Thanksgiving.
like
So you can
That's
squeeze
an
3
awesome
meals
idea.
in.
3 meals. Yeah,
I like that idea.
3 meals.
Is
in.
it a
like
breakfast
that.
Well,
style thing, or is it just like?
I think
Is
they're-
it like
they're-
turkey over?
No, they're doing like
Eggs Benedict with
eggs
turkey
with
breast.
ham chopped up in them, and then they're doing like French toast and potatoes and bacon, I think. And then there's times they've done other stuff depending on
I like that idea a lot.
former administrations of other family members that have been there or not been there.
Do you guys plan around when the football games are?
I don't know, like
Because it's early. There's a 12:30.
Yeah.
The Packers and Lions are at 12:30. Go Lions, Christy.
my family's is a multi-room affair. So like the adults are kind of in the dining room, and then the kids, which are just those of child rearing age at this point, are in the kitchen, and then people will move in the living room to watch TV. But like I don't, or to watch the football game, it'll be on. But I don't care about the football game that day, so depends. And then there's another family function at my mother-in-law's that's later on, and they're all traditional stuff.
So
The breakfast is used to plan for Black Friday for the women that are shopping.
because they get out, they attach
They get-
bayonets and they go
get
hard.
well, they grab the sale papers on the way to breakfast, and they literally plan out their Black Friday.
Are we still grabbing papers?
They grab the ad. They do. They stop and get the news.
That's one of the most.
They get the ads on that morning. You get the ads on Thanksgiving morning to tell you where all the Black Friday stuff is.
Now there
I
is
know, but everybody has
no courier
phones.
times on Thursday.
No, they usually go for the Muncie Star because it's usually end up in Muncie, or they might check the Indianapolis Star.
So Dakota, you have planned this for us. You
Yes.
want to know what meats? What are the meats that we use?
I want to
we
know
eat.
what your favorite meat of the tradition meats are.
This is controversial, I know, but you know
Is.
there's the list of all the things, and yeah, there's a turkey there. I don't care if I have the turkey. I'm here for the sides.
Oh, it's
I-
always the sides.
I
It's
don't
never
care.
the turkey.
Turkey's fine, whatever, sure.
All
piece
the
of, little
carbs.
piece of turkey
I
breast.
want
I don't think
all
anybody
of the
wants it.
carbs.
But there could be a ham, there could be a turkey, there could be you could do, you know, a beef Wellington if you want to get real fancy and some sort
Ham all the way.
really ham. See, but
As
Sarah,
far as Thanksgiving?
Sarah's anti-ham. Sarah's anti-ham.
Oh.
My wife, the lovely Sarah Potter Morrill.
Yes.
I'm fine with it. I have no concern, no qualms with it, but it's not very popular in our household.
The thing I love about the ham is it's so versatile for leftovers.
Yeah, ham sandwich with those rolls.
chop it,
Breakfast
Game
with
over.
eggs.
Easy.
chop it up with eggs.
Look
yeah.
at that.
Yeah.
Turkey
Turkey and egg.
is wildly overrated.
Get out of here.
Because
That's fake. That's
there's
made up.
there's a reason why, like a whole turkey or even like turkey breast, you can't buy it any other time of the year.
You can.
You have to go find it.
You have to look.
You have to go look it. But there's not.
Who's
like, whole-
looking?
There's not. Like, yeah. There's no, but nobody's looking. Like deli turkey's good.
But
But
that's
it's
not true
processed out
for
of-
turkey dark meat, which is what I'm going for.
Like ham, you can get a ham.
You can,
anytime.
I mean,
I-
every state fair, there's multiple
Turkey
turkey,
legs.
leg booths.
If you
It's the
can
turkey
do a
dark meat
turkey
that
breast
slaps.
correctly, you can make a nice like half-inch slice and make a fantastic sandwich with it. I'm all in for that.
Listen,
That's good. But it gets absolutely dominated and overshadowed when it comes to the Thanksgiving meal.
so
It's all
As
about
far as a
sides.
thin-
one
thinly
thing
sliced
I've
No,
learned,
a thick slice
Oh.
turkey, you know, to make a sandwich with later.
Right.
yeah.
Mm.
But one thing I learned from hosting and then also doing the cooking of the meats is that we have been lied to for very long because of the way that the elder generation has cooked turkey. It's so dry and gross when you roast it in an oven. It never comes out right whenever it's deep fried, second of all. But it's always just dry and disgusting if they put it in an oven. No matter what you try, it's always gross. If you take your turkey, you brine it for like a long time. We're talking like 36 hours. Brine it in a cooler and then smoke it spatchcock style with an actual rub on it. It comes out delicious.
God, I hope Taco Bell's still open when I leave.
Are you spatchcocking anything in your house, Mark?
No.
Do you know what a
I don't even know what
spatchcock
that
means?
means.
That
but
means you cut the
it's
bone
kinda
out and you
kinky.
flatten it.
It's brutal. It's like the most savage thing I've ever done in
You
a
cut
kitchen.
you cut the spine out and then fold it flat and lay it on the smoker.
I am not a cooker by any means. I hate cooking. I wish I didn't hate it so much because like I do think it's really badass to like prepare a dish that you consume. But
it's a
there's
miracle.
an art to it.
It's
but
a
I'm
miracle that it all gets on the table at the same time. I have this is apparently my anxiety admission episode, Mark. I will cook anything. I'm cool cooking it, but I have my mental hurdle is getting it all done at the same time.
Or keeping it warm.
Yeah, or keeping it warm or
Yeah.
having it ready. And then I also worry about things like spoiling or whatever. Like there comes a certain point in the day where people have had food out for too long and I'm just done eating it.
Yeah, warm deviled egg.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. So I'm like, if that's been on the
Down the
counter for
hatch.
3 hours, I'm mentally looking around going, yep, we're done with that. We're done with that. I'm not having any more of that.
Nope.
It's been on the
Really?
counter. Wait, oh yeah, I'm done. I'm out.
Man,
I know.
I've been pretty close a few times. I know.
Everybody has.
I'm watching going, nope,
At
I'm
about
out on,
9:30.
I'm out on that
there's
stuff.
there's a YouTube channel. You guys should check it out. It's called Chubby Emu. This guy, it's a weird name for a channel, but this guy is an ER doctor, and he discusses cases from the emergency room where like the strangest thing, like people have done the strangest things that have sent them to the emergency room and they died, or it looks like they're going to die, but then they recover. And there's just a plethora of a gamer ate leftover pizza that was out too long. This is how his organs failed. And it's like, there's so many of them, dude. And I know
Who hasn't found a piece of pizza you left out like overnight and you're like,
that's what I'm saying.
We've had
priceless
this.
good,
we've
man.
had this discussion in the house. This is. I'm unpopular. I'm very unpopular with my food preservation side. And there's a dude named Jason I work with who's drilled it into my head for like 15 years because I think he worked at KFC and probably killed a guy or two. And he's learned.
He wound up
he's
in a
learned the
Chubby Emu
rules.
video.
So there was like, hey, we got somebody that Shelby is from. She's from Ohio. She comes up for the Indy 500. She always wants her Pizza King. Wouldn't it be really cool if we brought down a Pizza King pizza for her to have to heat up down there? I'm like, we're driving. It's going to be a 9-hour drive, and we're doing it overnight. How are we keeping this cold? Like, just leave it outside in the truck. It'll be fine. I'm like, no.
It's got to get cooked first.
they'll
It's
sell,
got to get
they'll
cooked
sell you a
first.
frozen pizza.
Yeah, but you got to keep it cold.
That's what
You
coolers
don't
are
have to keep
for.
it that cold, and it's gonna get
I
cooked.
don't know.
It's gonna. That's the thing.
I-
I will eat anything if I cook it.
Yeah, because you've boiled the trouble out of the room temperature cheese.
I once witnessed somebody.
I'm very.
Kept-
I guess I'm skeptical.
You've never have survived 200 years ago.
I knew some, I
First to
once witnessed with my own eyes somebody who kept unbreaded chicken wings in the microwave for days and would just fire it up for like 30 seconds to a minute, grab a couple out, then throw them back in.
Yeah, you're asking for a video.
And somehow they didn't die. And when I witnessed what was happening, I threw them in the trash. They were pissed. And at this point, these wings had been in the microwave for like 3 days and just never put in the refrigerator. But I think they just thought, well, if I nuke it, they're good. If I irradiate my food.
There was a guy that here's a lesson for Andrew Bowman if he's still watching. There was a guy in a Chubby Emu video, and he was a farmer, and he was out in his shed or barn, whatever, and he laid his sports drink on the shelf. He also would keep single batch sizes of herbicide in old sports drink bottles
Why?
so that he
Same
could
shelf.
so that he could unscrew one gallon's worth and dump it into his sprayer. And
Shelf space at a premium.
he took a single swig and then made himself puke, but it killed him. He still died.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah, it doesn't
it's
take
that
much.
powerful. So
Didn't call that poison hotline, did he?
Nope.
But yeah.
Do you remember the Darwin Awards?
Mm-hmm.
That should have been a Darwin Award winner.
Yeah.
All right. So Dakota, you've handcrafted this list here of the
Sorry.
most popular Thanksgiving
Side
sides
dishes.
in America
I believe
by
this
state.
is from 2020.
This is from some Twitter data. Indiana, the deviled egg.
the only state with the deviled egg, by the way. We are very unique in that way.
Yeah. So
And
my
I would agree. I'm a sucker for deviled eggs.
deviled eggs are fine, but I'm not going out of my. So
Good deviled egg.
A good deviled egg.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Bad deviled egg. And
I don't think I've ever met a bad
are
one.
they worth the squeeze?
I don't
It's a
like-
lot of work.
No, dude.
It's a labor of love
The
to
best-
peel all those eggs.
So that's the best part is I don't make them.
You just
I
enjoy
show up
them.
to functions where somebody else
Made them, and you trust that they did.
I'm not big on the
appropriately.
heavy relish ones. I don't like the filling
Yeah.
to be
Oh,
chunky.
relish,
It needs
yeah.
to be
Unless it's
smooth.
chopped
I'm like
jalapenos.
Dakota said, right down the
That sounds
hatch.
Fire.
Just straight on in.
Just straight it. Yeah. Yeah.
So my original homeland would have been in New York State. Stuffing is the New York State one. North Carolina, mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is a tough one. Do you guys, how do you like your mac and cheese?
Velveeta shells and cheese all day.
So just
It's always the
stovetop
best.
prepared.
It's always better than anything
Straight
else.
up.
It always
Man,
is.
I gotta give it to Audrey on this one. My wife makes the best mac and cheese I've ever had. It's made in the oven.
Yep.
It's an oven dish.
Yep.
That's what
It's a
Kenzie does as
casserole.
well. But it's
So
like
good.
I do
overpowered with cheese. I'm just.
I do a mac and cheese in the oven as well.
Yeah.
And I've had some fantastic smoked mac and cheeses also,
That
which is
sounds
like
awesome.
an
I have
oven
had
style,
Good ones like that.
where you do the casserole thing.
You ever done a Stouffer's and a smoker?
No, never have.
It's pretty good. I'll give it
So
a shot.
New Mexico green bean casserole. That's their go-to.
I'm a sucker for green bean casserole too.
I
And
don't hate it.
we found out in the
It's fine. There's a lot of people that say it's snot, but it's it's not. Mashed potatoes. That's the
potatoes
standby
all the way.
for Montana. Their go-to is that. Missouri's all about the rolls. That's the place. There's the Throwed Rolls in Missouri. I learned that when I drove by it.
Why would rolls?
I don't know. That's of all the choices of all the things you say.
Whitest
"Yeah,
of the whites
I
in
am
Missouri."
looking forward to those. I think we're in
true.
southern state.
But I do love a good roll,
Looking forward to those
It's just
rolls.
something about the rest of their side dishes, I think. I mean, I love a good roll, but like,
Georgia mac and cheese,
And
Florida.
that's the thing. They are a southern state, and like I said, my entire childhood was in central Tennessee. Those people know how to cook some really good food.
Craig DaCosta, I swear to God, if this is true, your number one side is turkey gravy in Hawaii. Turkey, that's the show. You couldn't be grilled pineapple.
I'm surprised it's not some kind of spam. They
Kentucky,
love spam there.
I do
our
love
neighbors to
gravy.
the south, broccoli casserole.
That's disgusting.
They can stay that.
Yeah.
Tennessee, sweet potato casserole. Let's see where we got. Wisconsin.
Utah is more whites. The rolls.
Wisconsin is it's not a hot dish. It's just mashed potatoes. Let's see if anybody else has got a unique one on here real quick. Cranberry sauce for New Hampshire. You guys okay with cranberry sauce? You like it?
Who
I don't
said
think I've
corn?
ever had it.
Who said corn?
Iowa.
Don't eat it.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah, Iowa. I mean, that's just investing in themselves.
Yeah. Hash brown casserole for Alaska.
Hey,
What?
Iowa, what's your favorite side?
Alaska says
Corn,
hash brown
corn.
casserole.
Everybody eat corn.
Our answer to everything is corn. Maine, the side salad. You liars. Damn liars
Yeah.
in Maine. Oh, we like side
I
salad.
don't think I've
up
ever
here.
seen a salad at a Thanksgiving function.
No.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Except for that pineapple fluff that they call salad. you know?
Yeah, that ain't salad. That's
Now-
nasty as well.
for the for the dark side of the conversation.
Uh-oh.
The most hated Thanksgiving food across the United States. This map would not get anybody elected president because it's very split. There are 6 different items that received state votes. The Upper Midwest is united in their hatred for cranberry sauce. Michigan, Wisconsin, and Indiana and even all these Great Lakes states, New York State, all say no to cranberry sauce, along with Tejas and Georgia and Florida. And a few
California.
others. California, yeah. Nebraska, Washington, and all of New England. They all hate cranberry sauce. I like it's actually one of my favorites.
Not had it.
Never had, never?
Don't
Now, I'm
think
not
so.
talking, you can get it in the jar, which is,
Yeah,
reminiscent
never
of
had
childhood, but it's good.
I don't-
It's a
I
little
don't-
orange
I don't
How do
jet.
you eat it?
enjoy it.
Like it just
It's basically a sauce for you can dip everything in it.
okay.
Gives you a little sweet and salty,
Yeah.
or a little sweet kick, a little tartness.
If
to your
it's been
turkey.
around at our family function, I don't think I've ever known or
I don't.
grab
I've
it.
never
It's red.
seen. I've never seen a
Oh.
homemade
Yeah.
cranberry sauce. It's always just still has the shape of
Still looks
the
like the
can,
can.
that it's in, and then it's sliced on like a butter dish.
Yeah,
It's
and that's
gross.
not
Ugh.
that's not the greatest.
It's not.
But
good.
if you do it well, you can do it really well.
I would try homemade.
Maine, whose number one thing,
It was a
Maine's-
side salad.
Maine's number one thing was the side salad. Their most hated Thanksgiving food, turkey.
We just like the salad.
Just salad only, please. We'd like a
Gross.
lobster roll with our salad.
That seems more like a thing you think of like Portland or something like that.
Sounds
where
like
they're
there's
just
things
Oregon
getting
also.
sucked.
Oregon also.
Portland, Portland on
the
both
meat
coasts.
is like,
Yes.
why would you eat the poor bird? Just eat a salad.
Idaho also says no to the turkey. They're just eat more potatoes.
I mean, I'm on board with. I'll eat. I mean, if you would have to twist my arm to eat multiple types of potato at the same meal. I love potatoes.
West Virginia, South Dakota, and North Dakota. So all of the Dakotas, anti-sweet potato.
I don't like sweet potatoes,
You
It
belong in
depends
the
on how they're
Dakotas.
prepared.
but I'm sticking with Indiana on both of these. I don't like cranberry sauce, and I love deviled eggs. So I'm just
You're just a Hoosier.
an average
Yeah, there-
Hoosier man, right?
There's a
here.
great meme that I remember every time I think of deviled eggs, and it's the little guy like with the finger pistol. And it's like, hey man, you want to eat 6 boiled eggs in a row? Nah, I'm good. We'll mix the yolks of mayo and mustard, put them back in the boiled egg whites, and cover it with paprika. You son of a bitch, I'm in. And it's just like, yeah, that's the way it is.
Louisiana, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, anti-pumpkin pie.
The thing is
I don't like
that
it
I would
either.
also eat 6 boiled eggs in a row
Yeah, I
and
would
have
too,
on
actually. I love-
multiple
I
occasions.
love-
Yeah,
I love eggs.
I'm all in for a hard-boiled egg. Let's see. We are surrounded. This is like weed legalization, but backwards. Illinois, instead of Michigan, it's Kentucky and Ohio. So we're surrounded on 3 sides by anti-green bean casserole states. I guess.
It's
What is
disgusting.
wrong with them?
I don't know.
love. They are enemies of the people.
It
Green
can't
bean
be too
casserole,
wet.
I love it.
It
It
looks
can't be too
disgusting.
wet. It's got to be a little thickened.
Guys,
to be,
once again,
to be
I've
good.
never
It's like
met
somebody
one
was
I didn't
eating
like.
green beans with a sinus infection and then aspirated it and sneezed it out.
It looks bad, but it's delicious.
I like green beans too. Just
I
Don't
I have fond memories of green bean casserole. It's in the South. I have learned from my
it's probably
extensive
because
amount of
that's
family.
got a stick of butter and a whole hog's worth of bacon in it. Or
No, I'm
something.
saying they don't like it.
Oh, they don't like it.
Yeah,
in there?
people in the South are not fans of green bean casserole. So my mom would always make green bean casserole for the
For
Thanksgiving.
the
growing up.
Northerners,
And
we won the war.
because they were all, you know,
I'll bring that up when
Quick
we're
reminder.
around the table on Thursday.
they were all
Bunch of losers.
because we were in Dixieland down there in Tennessee. It didn't really get eaten, but I have fond memories of the next day just sitting there at lunchtime with the dish reheated and just eating like half of a dish of green bean casserole in one sitting.
because no one else is going to claim it.
Yeah.
Most of the South also is anti-stuffing. That was the other one. So Arkansas,
Yeah.
Tennessee, North and South Carolina, Mississippi, and Alabama, along with Montana for no particular reason, and Arizona are anti-stuffing. I'm anti-stuffing with a caveat. If you put any sort of oysters in the stuffing, I'm out.
Ow.
What?
Ow.
Disgusting.
I've never even heard of that.
And I know it will be served Thursday, and I have to accept that some people are going to eat that disgusting crap right next to me on the holiday. But yeah, oyster stuffing.
What?
Yeah, Google it. It's real.
Huh. That's crazy.
It's a real thing. It's foul.
Stuffing kind of sucks too.
Yeah.
Not a fan of
Yeah.
any of
Hey.
these dishes. Just not.
You're here for the sides. What are your sides you're here for, Mark?
Mashed potatoes at best.
Yeah.
Mark, do you want to come to my parents' house on Thursday?
Yeah, for your surf and turf combo. Yeah, I do.
in the show chat, I just shared a link to a shirt, Jeremiah, you should get. It says the North Civil War Champions.
Put that next to my back-to-back. I should have gotten that next year. Next year, I will wear that to Thanksgiving dinner. God, that would be. Do you think you could survive a road trip through Georgia wearing that?
Based on the Top Gear episode, no, not without some level of personal injury.
I can't wait for you to walk
a fair
in,
amount of fear.
have that shirt on, but then
I'm
all of a
already
sudden,
in trouble because they've probably listened and shared this around, and I'm going to get daggers when I arrive on Thursday.
all of a sudden, someone's as soon as you walk in Thursday, the song "If the South Would Have Won" by Hank Jr. is going to be playing, and they're just going to be staring at you with daggers in their eyes.
Can't wait.
It'll
Can't
be a good time.
All right.
Let's talk about
Desserts.
yes.
So pumpkin pie, pecan pie. What's your go-to dessert for Thanksgiving?
Let's go with Zach.
pumpkin pie, and my wife normally makes what are called truffle bowls. So it's a bowl that's about 9 inches deep and about 9 inches in diameter. And she just layers stuff. So I think that this year looks like it's going to be like a death by chocolate thing. Sometimes it's like a peanut butter thing. So it'll be like layers of Cool Whip, brownies, and like Reese
yes,
cups
I
or
know.
Reese's.
Awesome.
You just keep layering it until you get to
yeah.
the top. And then on the top, they'll just be like Reese cups or Reese's Pieces over the top. And then like drizzled peanut butter.
Yeah,
The top
And
sprinkled with
it's the-
diabetes.
She's brought that camping a couple times.
it's the devil's casserole. Is
Yes,
what it is. It's
and
so
she
good.
just like every year she has to kind of one up herself, and so that's literally for my family. They're like, "Do you want me to do anything different?" They're like, "No, bring mac and cheese and bring a truffle bowl," and that's all she ever does. So she's not allowed to do anything else. She has to come up with a different truffle bowl every year, though. But so that's what. No, and then probably I love pumpkin pie, and I haven't actually had any this year. So yeah, I'll eat pumpkin pie.
Love pumpkin pie too.
I'm a sucker for peanut butter pie.
I love peanut butter pie.
Peanut
too.
butter, anything.
But then-
sugar cream pie.
I love sugar
You
cream pie.
guys,
That's it, boy.
You're broken. I know that's Indiana's dessert, but the sugar cream pie is not
Wick's
good.
sugar cream pie.
It's
is
not that good.
mint.
It is the best.
It
It's
is- yeah.
not. I would love to be here for Hoosier Pride. It's not that good.
I've never had it. It doesn't even look good to me.
You're missing out.
Yeah.
You would really
Yeah.
like it.
We'll get
probably
one.
would,
We'll
but-
bring one in for you to try.
Yeah, we should.
I'm going to a restaurant next week that makes their own, so maybe I'll have to try it sometime.
You need to get the Wix one.
Yeah.
That's the
Get
the
official
Wix.
pie.
Yeah,
you
the
need to get
Wix.
the Wix Winchester pie.
I've never had a homemade sugar cream pie where it
It's
was
even
like,
like the same thing.
where it was like, oh, this is better than what I can buy at Walmart.
No.
It's never happened. The Wix is the
That's
best.
not saying much for the dish. If the best
It's not
that-
good.
It's
It-
the best that you
it's-
got.
it's
is something
not
that
that
comes out of
good.
a freezer case. It's not.
It's not that good.
It's not.
Don't
high
know what to
quality
tell you,
food.
brother.
Yeah.
It's just the best there is. You put a little bit of Cool Whip on top.
You should always try new things.
It's
If I had
done.
to choose between pumpkin or pecan, I'm going with the
I'm going
Southerners
pecan
here.
all the way.
I'm going pecan, and a chocolate pecan pie is
I
even
don't,
better.
See, I don't like nuts generally, so
Yeah, my wife
Pass.
doesn't either. I like pecan pie. I'm so stuck between sugar cream and pecan, but luckily I
I
can
do
have
like
both
pecan, but
because
it's
I'm
definitely
American.
Sugar cream.
that's the thing about with like it's so easy to avoid dishes you don't like because most people you go to a family
Oh,
function
there's 30 to choose
and there's
from.
there's like 9-foot table of sides,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the way mine goes because I have back to back, I literally eat my main course and then a little bit of dessert at the first one, and then the next one I go to, I just eat dessert. I literally just go in there and just
My-
eat desserts.
My conundrum this year is that my in-laws' Thanksgiving is a traditional Thanksgiving, and it starts at 1 p.m. on Thursday. My parents, with the steak and crab legs, starts at 3 p.m.
Well, you got to pace yourself.
Oh
Yeah, that's
my.
another thing.
You
like
might
the
have to go
timing
with
of
the,
all these
You
things
might have
suck.
to go with the main strategy and just have a side salad.
I'm just gonna take some of the turkey to my parents' house too and eat it like I'll use the turkey as buns for my steak.
Collard greens. That's the other side that
turf
we
and
get
turf.
down in Georgia.
I was gonna say,
I'm-
we're too far north for that.
I am
Yeah.
such a fan of collard greens, hardcore fan.
There is a octogenarian woman that makes some fine collard greens that I will be enjoying this year as well.
Collard greens with like a soup amount of Cholula, like we're talking a half a bottle size of Cholula sauce.
All right.
God dang, son, that sounds so good right now.
We are ready to transition into Mark Fultz's, honestly, his best topic, the assassination of President JFK. 59 years 364 days ago as of right now. So I'm 40, right? So this happened 20 years before I was born. Dakota, you're like halfway. It's like your entire life. You were born at the halfway point.
Okay.
We're at the halfway
I want-
point.
just wrap your head around that moment, what you just said. Your birthday is closer to the assassination of JFK than it is to current time by 20 years. I feel old.
By 10 years.
T-
It'd be the halfway point.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, by 10
60
years.
years. 60 years, no, it's 20. 40 years between now and your birthday, 20
Yeah.
years on the backside. So it's double.
Yeah, 1/3 point. Yeah.
Yeah.
My entire existence is
That's
2/3.
like the factoid that Cleopatra lived closer to the invention of the iPhone than she did the building of the Great Pyramid.
Yeah.
I was
God.
born closer to the death of
And that's just by
JFK than
conventional
this
dating.
current moment.
And because to me, 20 years ago is still like 1991.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know how we want to handle this. Dakota, you
Because I'm not an expert. You keep
laid-
saying I'm an expert.
You laid out the notes, so I'm going to let you lead us through the discussion in the way you've laid this out. So
Okay.
I'm going to let you lead the discussion here, and then Mark. So Mark literally had no opinion until yesterday, and I said, "Hey, I think we're going to talk about this." So he has been down the rabbit hole for the last 24 hours,
all
just
day I've
playing,
been watching, listening.
playing documentaries all day long. So he is now the expert with the most recent knowledge, the bias of recency.
And I still haven't figured out the
You
conspiracy.
haven't solved the puzzle yet?
No.
I'll just read.
I'm not into any of
All right,
it.
Dakota, give us the narrative.
just read
and
from
we're
the
gonna
notes.
jump in and interrupt.
Lee Harvey Oswald
Allegedly.
shot Kennedy from what was it? It was the
The Texas-
Dallas
the Texas
Community Schools
School
book depository,
on the 5th floor,
whatever that means, from the
Sixth.
5th floor.
6th floor.
I believe it was
Nobody
six.
even knows.
And
Well,
then
maybe it was part of that documentary I watched because all the facts were jumping up and down. Anyway,
he left the building in a rush, obviously, and went home, grabbed a handgun, and for some reason left his home because they knew, probably because he knew they would be looking for him. And then he just randomly shot a cop. The cop wasn't like trying to stop him or anything, according to what I read. He
It's
just
just-
saw a police officer was like, "Oh, he's on to me," and he shot him and killed
Killed
him.
him.
And then that shots fired is what brought the police to his area.
After him,
And then they were like, "Hey, that's the guy," and
they caught him in a movie theater.
they got him.
because he dipped out after shooting the guy, dipped out in the movie theater,
Yep.
which is ironic for the killer of Lee Harvey Oswald, the owner. Right? Am I getting that mixed up? The owner of the
Jack
nightclub?
Ruby?
Yeah.
I don't know what Jack Ruby did.
Jack
Well,
Ruby
Jack Ruby
was a
killed Lee
career
Harvey Oswald.
criminal.
I know that. I'm saying what his
Oswald.
occupation.
Jack Ruby was a career criminal. He owned a nightclub, and he ran narcotics, and he had a prostitution ring. He was connected to the mob.
Good friends with the cops, apparently, too.
So he thought he was doing everybody a favor by just taking the dude out. Basically, is what his
That's the official story.
what his story was.
Which makes no sense.
Right.
Like, you just, that
there's-
self-righteous?
Well, just the thought that you don't know why. You don't know. You think
He
it's-
already had mob connections. He was a
Yeah.
patsy, if we've ever seen one.
Yeah. It's always better to like get some information out of it. I think that's the frustrating part now, even today, with like people who shoot up whatever, is they take themselves out and like, well, now we don't know why. Like they rob us of that chance, and he did that
Right.
in front of everybody.
And he did it at the police headquarters
On national television.
on
Yeah.
national TV. Wasn't it even in the basement?
I think it was on the street.
No, it was on the street because he was being led from the police headquarters. He was going to be taken
Yeah, to the
from
car.
the headquarters to the jail. And then before they got him to the car, Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald.
All right, continue
was
on
in
with
the
your
building.
continue on with your
Huh?
Right?
your
You said it was
narrative.
in the street?
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty sure they killed him in the building.
Was it in the basement? So that's what I
believe
said
so.
first, but I thought it was in the street. We're
I
going to have to
believe- I
look
don't
that
know.
up. We
I
need a
believe
fact
so.
check real
Yeah.
quick. Fact checked on the play.
Yep, Jane's saying she watched it happen on the TV
Dang.
through the basement of the police headquarters. Yeah, so he was in the basement of
Oh,
the
he
building.
was in the basement of the police headquarters and shot Lee Harvey Oswald while he was
Like-
on the street.
No, it was right in the belly. So he just walked
Oh.
up into the middle of it and shot him.
That's insane. That's even crazier.
Please continue with your story.
The Warren Commission is the commission that was brought together to investigate whether there was a conspiracy to kill the president. This was immediately following the assassination of John F. Kennedy. They concluded that both Lee Harvey Oswald and Jack Ruby were lone wolves. They were acting on their own volition and committed their crimes with no outside influence. And that is also when the FBI and CIA stated that they had no prior knowledge nor contact with Lee Harvey Oswald. That is important because of the documents that have come out this year. Just this year, we have learned that is absolutely a lie. The CIA had a ton of information on Lee Harvey Oswald, so much so as they reached out to Lee Harvey Oswald's only friend, and he was informing on what Oswald was doing.
Like his roommate, a previous roommate or something at the time.
Yeah.
So
Mark knows.
what came out
Mark knows.
This is just from today. This is
I'm going to
me
sound like
researching.
Alex Jones.
there,
You already know. Every time I come here, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
the latest documentary that was released is a National Geographic one that's called One Day in America. JFK One Day in America. It's a 3-part documentary that Mark and I were comparing notes on earlier. And I'm going to be honest, kind of dry. It feels like
It's a little slow.
It's the one they released this year, and it's basically like, hey, all these people getting ready to die. Let's sit them down. We're going to get their story before they're gone, so that there's still a few voices left. Because apparently they're down to like 2 Secret Service agents that are left that were there on the
There's
day.
2 or 3, yeah. The only reason I say that because I can't remember if that one that we're talking about that jumps on the back of the
That's
car.
Clint Hill, I believe.
This says 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I feel like that guy gets his stuff mixed up
Yeah.
left and right.
So he's been on a hell of a media tour. He's 91,
And that was a bang. I mean, I hope not. I hope he does well.
so to speak.
So there's a book that I've mentioned before on this podcast, and it is entitled Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s. You know this book
I know of it. Yeah.
because you've probably listened to Tom O'Neill talk about it
I just hear
on podcasts.
Rogan talk about it all the time.
Yeah, so in that book, they talked about the CIA agent who was in charge of Project MK Ultra, which was when the CIA was investigating LSD and whether it could be used for mind control. I forget his name, what the agent's name is, and I know that makes me sound incredible, but he met with Jack Ruby before his trial. And that is where things start to get a little bit squirrely. Because why is the CIA agent, who is not like a secret agent, he's not gathering intel, this is a guy that has previously been behind closed doors running scientific experiments. Why was he visiting Jack Ruby in jail?
I mean, if you had the chance to visit Jack Ruby in jail, you would have. It's the most interesting guy to interview at that point.
What
I
was he in
guess.
jail
He
for?
never really
I
said.
didn't look into him at all.
Jack Ruby is in jail for killing Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, this is.
Well, yeah. All right.
This was
I'm
after
with
he
you. I was
killed
thinking like this is
Oswald.
before all of the
At least I
ordeal.
think, if
Gotcha.
my memory serves me correctly, I don't think that they know that he met with Jack Ruby beforehand. But Jack Ruby had a lot of different ties to police agencies in and around Dallas, and then he also had ties to the mob because of that. And it was just known that he had ties to the mob because basically to run any kind of crime in any large American city in the 1960s, you had to have ties to the mob.
So in this is the article that you put together here from the Intercept, Dakota.
Yes.
If you're in the show notes, talking about the 1,500 pages of the documents. that the Biden administration-
Patreon.com/Boss Hog of Liberty. That's where you can go to get access to the show notes. The link to this Intercept interview is in those show notes.
When I was a kid, we were told, so I would have been 1992, we were told, hey, when everybody's dead, essentially, all of the facts are going to come out. Everything's going to be unsealed and it's going to come out. and that was because in 1992, the John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Collection Act passed, and that directed the National Archives to make all public records relating to the assassination available by 2017. And then it hasn't happened. It's been very slow to happen. So the Biden administration has continued to release some stuff, but it hasn't happened as fast as the lawsuit should have.
There's about 4,000 documents that still have yet to be released from the CIA.
You got to wonder at some point when we're going to get all this, right? Or if we ever will. And
if you read further down in that article, the guy that is being interviewed, he runs a Substack account, and he is the foremost expert on JFK, the JFK assassination. He's poured through the thousands,
even more than Oliver Stone,
of documents. Yeah, I think so, because he talks a lot about Oliver Stone in this interview, but this guy is really good. But anyway, he was saying that he has a lot of faith that 2024, as long as everything has died down with Israel and Hamas, and then also Russia and Ukraine, then the CIA will be out of distractions and therefore excuses. Because that was the thing this time, was we haven't had the archivist. The archivist hasn't had time to go through everything because of everything that's going on in the world right now. So we haven't had time to go through these 4,000 documents yet. So even though they knew they were going to have to release them in 2017, back in 1992, they had plenty of time.
They've had a minute. Okay? So in the Hulu, I say the Hulu, but the National Geographic documentary that was just released, they had Oswald's coworker. And that guy's like, we would go to work every day together. He wouldn't really talk. We'd just sit in the car. He'd ride to work, keep to himself, whatever. And this time he brought a box with him. He's like, what's in the box? And they're like, curtain rods. Curtain rods. Just have curtain rods. They did their thing. They went to work, whatever. Shots rang out, and he was gone. So Dakota, I know you're all in on the CIA doing whatever. I think he did kill him. Like, if you've got, there would be such a massive. We can't keep any secrets in this country. Well, and with it having happened in that public of a place, there's just no way that it would have been somebody other than that dude, or he was involved. Whether or not there was the second shooter in the plaza or whatever. That. But I have no doubt that Oswald did it. Are you guys there too?
The only question with Oswald would be the magic bullet, right?
Right.
Why was there a bullet behind JFK's seat that was perfectly, it looked like it was fired into a big bowl of water. And that was what they used to connect Oswald with the firearm. They're saying, look, this is the bullet that came out of his gun. But, like, you've shot guns before, Jeremiah.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a bullet hit even...
I've never shot one through somebody's skull. And so there's an article. I don't know that this actually made it into the show notes, but there's a group out of. Let me try to grab this here real quick to make sure we attribute it correctly. It was an Arizona TV station that had some local researchers on, and they basically went to Texas and they did a bunch of laser scanning, and they said, "Hey, we're gonna get all of these points and then match it up to the film that gets him shot, that shows him getting shot, which is the Zapruder film." Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Yep, everything lines up perfectly to the video, exactly to the film as we saw, except we can't confirm or figure out how the governor." So the JFK is sitting in the back seat, he gets shot, and then the Governor John Connally also gets shot, and they're like, he had to be sitting like a foot further to the left for this bullet to have actually struck him. So like that's where they think, well, they probably did have a second shooter or something happened. So that's the one where I'm concerned or have some intrigue. I also think, well, hell, shit happens, and I don't know. It's difficult to know.
I think if the CIA, and you have to understand it, like if you read Chaos by Tom O'Neill, the CIA is like way different in the 60s than what it is now. It had only been around for like less than 20 years, right? I mean, it hadn't been formed very long ago, and it was only formed because of national security interests after World War II. So they're not this all-powerful agency back then. Most of the intelligence gathering was actually done in the Pentagon itself. So to think that the CIA had such an incredible amount of power, it's not accurate. It's not like it. It's just not like it is today. So that's the part where it's like, oh, the CIA killed Kennedy. It's like, I don't know that.
After living through COVID and watching how quickly people come up with conspiracy theories, I think that we just as a species. Sorry, somebody shot me. Just really, really
Wrong way. You should have gone back and to the left.
Yeah, I leaned the wrong way. It came from the left, not from behind me. Is what happened. It came from over there on the hill.
Grassy knoll.
Came from down Broad Street. I'm just trying to figure out who the hell made this. It's a great piece of reporting, and it's True Crime Arizona. The AZ Family Arizona Action News is the ones that posted this thing, but I can't. They do a terrible job of actually attributing what lab or who the third party was that got it. So anyway, this research is out there. The story they have is we can't figure out what happened. We want to. They can't get an answer to the feds. It was basically an independent third party that went out, took all of these site measurements, put their lasers on it, and they're like, we need a law enforcement agency to actually take the investigation further. We took it as far as we can. But that was fascinating to me. That's the only part of the conspiracy side that I'm in, I'm partially in for, is that, okay, well then, JFK part makes sense, but how the hell did the governor get shot?
It's just
by the same
really,
bullet?
what's so suspicious to me is that they testified in front of the Warren Commission that there was no intelligence on Lee Harvey Oswald, and they had no contact with him before the assassination. And then now we know, because of the released documents, that was a straight-up lie. They'd been watching him ever since he went to Russia, because he was a known communist. They've been watching him for years.
Well,
and they've been watching him so hard that they had his best friend informing on him.
Assuming
And
that
then they lied about it.
You get caught for something. Do you think they're going to admit they have a file on you as a anarchist thought leader?
Well, if they knew, but if they knew that it was all going to remain classified, then why would they lie? And if there was nothing to hide, yeah, we'd been watching this guy, but we had no idea that he was about to snap, That's a perfectly reasonable answer. They did that with the terrorists who did 9/11.
Yeah, but the culture in 2001 versus 1963 a little different, I would imagine. I don't know, Mark. You're not fully in on the conspiracy side.
It was Woody Harrelson's dad behind the
Not at
grassy
all.
knoll.
Yeah.
He's actually involved in it. If you look
Wait,
at
I thought it was Ted Cruz's dad.
Woody
According to
Harrelson's
Trump.
dad was actually I think of a vigilante assassin.
Oh, really? The United States House Select Committee on Assassinations, which was investigating...
That is a narrow box. That is the...
They had a lot of work to do when Garfield got shot. Then they kind of put it on ice for a while.
It was just a committee on assassination.
Brought it back from McKinley.
They were also investigating Martin Luther King Jr., and they concluded that JFK was likely assassinated as the result of a conspiracy.
I mean, I've been
In
Googling
1978.
around trying to find some stuff, and it talks about the JFK assassination was like the foundation of Americans'
Distrust
of the government and just investing into conspiracy theories. Because it just between that Martin Luther King assassination,
Kennedy,
and then the Robert Kennedy assassination as well. Yeah.
And now the White House has denied RFK Jr.'s request for Secret Service protection,
Well, he's just an independent candidate.
and he's a Democrat, and he
It's very dangerous to run for president as a Kennedy.
first person
Ted
in-
survived it, but
first presidential candidate in one of the two major parties to ever be denied.
he's an independent now. He's not a Democrat.
Wow.
He's dropped out of the Democrat primary. He's running as an independent. That's a bad break. RFK Jr., he's got a vocal tick, so he doesn't sound like a Kennedy. The one thing that makes they're all great orators, and he doesn't have that.
He still sounds good, like
It's
intelligent.
It's just a tough break. He doesn't have the
Right.
Kennedy voice that they all had.
It would.
Oh, he doesn't have the
No,
Done.
his throat's screwed up. He has a physical defect where he has an impairment. Sad panda.
Ron Milford brought up, and I dug up the Chris Spangle show, which we've talked about this not that long ago. Episode 372, he interviews a guy named Robin Brown about the JFK, and it's literally them, I think,
Such a
sitting
good episode.
Sitting in
sitting
Daily
in
Plaza.
Dallas, talking about it, and it's long. I think it might be like 3 hours. Where it's worth it though. It's a great storyteller who's covering a lot of the different bases and making sure to kind of loop back and say, okay, this is why this matters and stuff. And it's tremendous. Listen, it's a great time of year right for the holidays.
If
If you got to commute, that's a great.
we've got seasons now, right? So it's September, you watch your
don't have
9/11
any
documentaries, and then November you get your JFK stuff, and then in December, it's all about Pearl Harbor. You just pull out the Pearl Harbor DVD, and then you go after
wild.
it.
catch
Yeah,
some-
you just go wild. Just watch Josh Hartnett and and
you know
Ben
what? I bet
Affleck
if we took the time,
wage
don't
war.
forget Cuba Gooding Jr. Man,
Oh,
he's a
he's
hero in that.
He's a hero.
That would be fascinating if somebody went through and you could just have a seasonality of just
Tragedies that have
tragedy
documentaries.
documentaries over and over again.
But
That sounds like an Audrey Davis poster to make for the show.
Earlier in the month, you watch and listen to
January
Edmund
we'll do the
Fitzgerald.
Challenger. We're going to do the Challenger, the space shuttle explosion, January 28th, 1986, I believe. Anybody know? Oh God, come on, people!
It's before my time.
I was alive, but
So
I was young enough to not
By a lot.
have to deal with that.
Jeremiah was alive when the Challenger exploded.
It was my poor mother's birthday.
No,
Yeah, it was her birthday, 1986. She's at home with
happy
me.
birthday.
January 28th, 1986, the Challenger goes up. First time we ever put a teacher on an airplane, or on a space shuttle, sending her out to do science experiments, then it blows up. So that's January. That's our tragedy for January. We got to find our February tragedy next. Dale Earnhardt. Dale died at Daytona.
Praise Dale.
Ides of March for Julius Caesar. Be March. Need one for April. You guys, Jesus. Easter. You do your Easter videos.
Already
May.
got that one.
We got. What's our May tragedy? Come on, Mark. You gotta have.
Dude, I
you gotta
have
have some of
no
these
clue.
dead things here. Indy 500.
I just indulged in JFK today. That's it. I do not pay attention.
Eddie Sachs and McDonald in the crash.
Search up tragedies in May, Zach.
It's just
How many people died in a horrible thing on this date?
He's
Not so
Googling over there
uplifting.
fervently. I can see it.
Let's see here. I've got a big events thing here. Oh,
it's gonna be
there's not
one.
much.
Ah, seems like
Oh, so we're just good.
May's,
Yeah.
May's our
May's
month off.
great.
We take a month off.
Yeah.
Maze for motorsports.
There's got to be something in June though.
Oh well,
D-Day.
no D-Day or So D-Day's fine. That's a good one. There's lots of documentaries about D-Day. Comes some movies, but August though, I think the Dakota has an obvious pick for August. So I'll skip July though. So what's July?
July, you got to watch The Patriot with Mel Gibson on July 4th.
Yeah, just go full, just patriotic.
Mm-hmm.
And then August 7th, 1957, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
That wasn't August. That was
in
November.
It
was
says laid down.
That was November 10th.
Laid down
Dang it.
meaning that they put it. They started the ship.
So I was trying to Google
They
too
started
fast.
construction.
I'm trying to find. No.
Yeah, that was the gales of November.
It was November 10th.
We just celebrated, observed. April would be the Titanic.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
That's a movie I've never seen.
What?
Never seen it.
Hmm.
I don't have any interest in. I find the whole thing fascinating, but I have no interest in watching the movie. I know how it ends.
I love maritime stories.
I've been through the.
Do you know how it ends? Spoiler: earmuffs if you haven't seen it.
I've been through the horribly tacky museum.
She
in
drops the
Pigeon
rock in the
Forge.
water.
Oh man, I just saw a great meme about that too. I can't remember what it said. Something about that. It was like hung out with a homeless guy for like 4 days and just let him drown or something like that.
Yeah, she did.
it was like
All right, so final
Help me.
final
Help me.
final takeaway
The
on the
water's
JFK
cold.
assassination.
Napoleon died in May.
Yeah, that's not American history.
Well, there's documentaries about it.
There's that new Napoleon movie looks freaking awesome.
I've had a
One with
surprising amount of
Joaquin Phoenix.
downtime in the last
Decent.
couple weeks, and there's
For
this
no
joke.
particular reason.
There's this joke. There's this joke about you hit a certain age and you have to start watching World War II documentaries, or you start smoking meats or whatever else.
40.
I'm 40 this year. And I went full in on World War II movies. TikTok gave me something about the Battle of Midway, and I'm like, oh, I'm fucking in. Let's do it. Let's do it.
I went through that phase in high school though, because
Yeah, that's nice.
because
40
when
in high school.
No, because in high school is when high school and college is when the History Channel became a thing,
Yeah.
and you could just turn on the History Channel and just go for hours.
Except when I was in high school, the History Channel had already moved on to ancient aliens.
UFOs.
Yeah, by the time
Aliens,
it was turned into reality show TV and
Yeah.
stuff.
Garbage. And how it's made. I love how it's made, though. Show me all the factories.
Gettysburg, July 1st, 1863, Jane Burcham, just so you know. She's asking when it was. Oh, man. All right, so Zach.
More patriotic stuff that we can think about in July. America prevailed again.
The North undefeated. Zach, any yes, no on the conspiracy? Do you accept that Lee Harvey Oswald did it and that's what it was?
Oh, I don't think he was. I think it was. I think he was part of a larger effort, for sure. I think it's just hard to between that and then him being killed immediately afterwards. I do think that there was. And you look at the way things were going, and there's a reason why people became conspiracy theorists in the '60s. There was a lot going on there, so I would not be shocked at all if that he was part of a larger conspiracy, potentially by people in the government. You could tell me somebody could say, "Look, no, we've done this and this," but I wouldn't be shocked. The government's done some horrible things, and killing JFK wouldn't even be in the top 10.
That's true.
It wouldn't even,
Zach
doesn't even
is-
register.
All right, Trail of
The
Tears
top
Burcham.
3
Thank you for that.
happened this year.
Mark, are you sold? It's just straight up. It is what it is.
I feel like he did it from just what I've gathered today.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I'm no expert, but I do.
Well,
think,
nobody solved it.
I do think there's some questions and answers to be had and discussed with the whole bullet and everybody talking about a possible shooter coming from the grassy knoll, which they love to throw those two words together, which I find funny. It's just a grassy area, just a greenery. I mean, like, but
grassy knoll.
if you're saying it's coming from, he's getting shot from the back in the neck, and then the next bullet is missed, or fire is missed, and then the one that actually kills him is in the back of the head, causes his head to explode, but then yet he's still apparently breathing, like we discussed before the show. Like it's I don't know. There's questions there.
Yeah,
it's just.
Do you
messy
want to
right
be
there.
the person to admit that the president's gone? Or do you want? Because I know after reading the motorsports
No,
book,
I don't want to. But it's like
Steve
it is what
Olby's
it
book,
is.
nobody dies at the racetrack. I assume that if you're driving the presidential limo, nobody dies in the limo.
Someone
You go to the hospital.
Was
I-
it? Yeah, more than pardon
You
on the
go
deck
somewhere
lid of the
else to
car,
be
though.
pronounced dead.
Yeah.
I read that they
was
made
dead.
that they made his time
Yeah.
of death 1 p.m. so that
They
it
said
would
that too. Yeah.
so that they could say that he was administered his last rites by a Catholic priest before he officially died.
Don't care.
mom has this
I
huge,
don't.
thick book called like Camelot, and it's just about the JFK thing. And it's got like colorized whatever pictures of, and you're like, oh, because there's a picture of her of Jacqueline like lurching to the back of the car, and like, oh yeah, she's trying to get the top of his head back because it was on the rear
It's
deck.
just a
of the
reaction.
car. Yeah.
So it is crazy. So Dakota, you and I have both seen the car now. It's in Dearborn, Michigan, at the Henry Ford Museum. The airplane. Have you been in the airplane where they put the casket and they flew him back from
I've
Dallas?
been a couple times. That's
in Dayton, Ohio. Free.
Oh,
You
maybe
just
I
drive
have.
straight
We took
over.
a-
The plane is
Great-
where
the
they
Air
great
Force
win-
One.
had to take off
Just
the
the-
handles to put them in there.
Yeah,
Is
they
it's
took
bit-
seats out.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they were like, he's not cargo.
They also cut part of the plane. I think it's harder to see. Than
It's also
people
where
think.
President Johnson took the oath of office.
Yeah.
Right there in the airplane.
And now you don't have to. Because it's cold and nasty today. Great winter activity. It's free. It's not that far of a drive. Go to the Air Force Museum in Dayton. It's fantastic. But yeah, they do have the JFK plane.
And it is also still an active Air Force base.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
trying
they
to
fly.
think- I'm trying
Yeah,
to
they've
think
got
what the
all kinds
what
of
was the
stuff in
tail
there.
numbers on that plane? Something 2600.
Hmm.
I think is the tail numbers on that plane. But yeah, it's in it. Yeah, they've got several in there. But yeah, they've got that one.
It is cool how we have preserved the American history. You can actually still see all this stuff. Been scrubbed clean because we used the presidential car another 20 years after. Put a roof on it, though.
Shocking.
Put a roof on it.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Think
I
about
know,
that. Like a president
this
got
is-
his top of his head blown off, and they're just like, "Yep, can't afford
Listen,
to replace
Price
that
should
sucker."
replace
bro."
this.
rolled the convertible
Yeah.
today,
I mean,
You
I
guys
boys.
know how expensive these are?
Replacing this bitch is cost prohibitive. Just
Like Ford couldn't just like, we'll give you a free one. Like we'll toss that one. Like although, I mean, I guess it would have been more suspect had they like shredded it,
yeah, the car's gone. Sorry, guys.
but to use it is just insane. Just mean, I mean, who wants to ride in it? You want to ride in a car that's already had one passenger? That's
Ed?
just no. That's not good.
Dick
Something
Nixon
else I find weird about it.
nearly went to jail over wanting to ride in it.
Why is Jackie? Is Jackie
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline.
Bouvier, Onassis, Kennedy.
She's like reaching for his brains,
Yeah.
like
Trying to
to like
To
collect.
gather
like,
it up.
It seems
I think
It
that's
seems
just-
crazy to me.
just
She
reaction.
she refused to leave the body too until he was covered up.
true because what's his name gave him the jacket to get
Secret
her
Service
away.
dude Clint put his jacket
But
on.
I don't. I guess you do crazy things in crazy situations, but like
You're in total shock.
Yeah,
you
but
have no.
full
No,
flight.
he needs that.
Full flight or fight response, and there's nothing to fight. So yeah, you're just panicking at that point.
That would be awful.
I would not react well. I'd probably be dead, but I would not
couldn't
react well.
But then
I'm sure I
imagine
couldn't either,
having
but,
like
it just
seeing
seems-
seeing the worst moment of your entire life replayed
Forever.
constantly for the
And
rest
now,
of your life.
and
on
now it's your
TV.
job to be strong for the country and do a state funeral,
Right.
No.
dress the kids up, do the whole thing.
Ugh,
Yeah.
awful.
So Dakota, you're all in. CIA killed him.
No, I think that the most egregious part would be the CIA knew that he was going to kill him.
You think they knew that he was going to kill him? Not that they had been looking after him, because we hear all the time about how law enforcement is looking at somebody.
I'm saying that the most egregious yet possible thing that I could imagine, like if it
They were
came
aware
out
of it,
in the
but
next
didn't do anything.
4,000 documents, they were like, we knew of Lee Harvey Oswald and X person were planning to an assassination attempt in Dallas, but we didn't stop it.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me in the least, but I don't really think that's what happened. I do think that there was another person there.
When you hear the accounts of it, you think, God, Quentin Tarantino's not that far off when he makes a movie. It's just the as brutal as that was. I'll take the original story, but I'm looking forward to the final documents getting out. I sure as hell hope it's not 80 years after the fact. If 2024 would be nice if they drop these things next year. Breaking news in Newcastle. We'll set aside the JFK assassination for just a moment. The dumbest stoplight on the planet has been removed, and it is not a popular decision.
I on my way here, I made an effort to go drive through it. just to experience it.
At the
because
post
I'm never
office.
over here for that.
Did
I'm
you
like,
pass,
wow.
Did you pass by like 46 miles an hour and try and aim for some old people?
Well, no, I can't. yeah.
Being
Just
brought
went
up at the next
straight.
city council meeting. Look what
So-
you did.
So to help to paint the picture, I believe it is like 14th Street and Church Street. There's on the south side of the road, there is a high-rise old folks home. There is on the north west corner of the intersection, there is a Methodist church. Methodist? I'm on Burgundy. There's a church.
Yes.
And on the southwest corner of the intersection, there is the U.S. Postal Service. This used to be a city-operated stoplight that was a red, green, yellow deal job. And for the last, at least since COVID, it has just flashed yellow in all directions. This week, now that the nasty city election is over, the city has said we are going to abandon the light. We're turning it off. And next week, we're going to take the pole down. So it's done. The stoplight is going away. And we may as well have started a civil war on the in the comments section over
People
the
are upset about
the stoplight
this?
going.
One way
Oh,
or the other?
yes.
No, I'm
I'm
going
not.
to say this, and I haven't done any actual research on the thread on this. The Courier Times posted, friend of the show, Travis White. But I would love for somebody to dig into the comments, positive and negative, and then give me a breakdown of how many fall above or below
50.
50, 55 years old. Because it's a lot of older people
That are
that are
pissed.
very angry.
That
and
are
Shocking.
It is their emotional support stoplight.
Yeah, well, and they're like, what about
Caution
the old
light.
people crossing the street? I'm like, park on the same side of the street as the post office.
Or get a sidewalk in there. Put a sidewalk in. You don't need a light. Who the hell's been paying that light bill the last 70 years?
Yeah.
Blink.
Well, and there's-
Blink.
a lot of people are calling.
Blink.
There are some younger people, but some of them were mad because they think that the removal of a stoplight and putting in a four-way stop is a sign of the coming apocalypse of Newcastle.
Are we
It's
putting a four-way stop in?
no two-way? But they think
Took away
they
the
think
stop.
that when you step back from a traffic light to a stop sign, that it's
We're
somehow a
regressing.
sign of your community taking a step
The
back.
traffic patterns have changed.
Yeah.
How many people use the post office now versus in 1963 when they mailed a postcard to tell their sister that JFK just got shot?
That and just since
Did you
those were
hear,
put
Nancy?
in, the business district has kind of moved down to 3. I understand there's Main Street or downtown's doing very well, but
When the city had that road closed for, I don't know, 3 years,
it wasn't a big deal. You got around it. I mean, my biggest complaint was, and I commented on the post about it, was that it's very annoying to get stopped going north and south on 14th Street every single time. And I bet that if I've stopped at that stop sign, because it's been a light for a while and they turned to blinking red or whatever, I bet if I've stopped there 150 times, I bet there's been a car on Church Street twice, and I have never seen a car coming out of the assisted living facility. Ever. Not once.
nobody visits their grandparents. That's what we're learning. today.
And so I'm like, because somebody was saying it's less efficient. I was like, how efficient is it for everybody going north or south on 14th to have to stop for nobody? And when it was a light, you just sat there, and there's nobody there. So
Well, now you can just roll through the stop
good
sign.
riddance. Yeah. This all started when Indiana and Maine,
when
a Dollar General truck.
oh, here we go blaming truckers again.
Yeah, Dollar General truck took out the stoplight and they threw in a four-way stop while they decided what to fix it. And people were like,
This
it
is
was
fine.
literally just what happened. People were like, this is working, like as a four-way stop. And it wasn't a conspiracy. Speaking of conspiracies, some people thought, but they were like,
Stoplight conspiracy.
yeah, but no, people thought that, and then they're like, this is working. And like we had a couple city councilmen who would go and sit at that stop sign and see like how backed up it got. And some people's, well, we should wait till school's back in session because it was over the summer. And I was like, the nearest school is a mile and a half away. And I know it's a mile and a half away because when the cross-country team runs from the high school up Main Street, if we want to go 3 miles, so a mile and a half out and back, we turn around at that intersection. That's the exact intersection. Schools don't affect that. but the people are just scrambling for any excuse they could. But it's just like the traffic patterns have changed. It's and then they want to complain about Broad Street. Broad Street's in, Doc. Go write your state representative. Yeah.
Any final thoughts for us tonight, Zach?
Oh my gosh! I mean, I was so happy when I saw that because I get so angry when I get stopped and I look. I'm like, nobody's here. But other than that,
I enjoy that Mark went the extra effort to actually go down and look at it
I did.
before he got here.
well,
And fun fact, I think I got behind you, and I was like, who the hell is driving 2 mile an hour up this road? Did you come up here and then turn left right here?
I come up Main,
whatever
and then
it
I
is.
turn left at the Elks Club. Yeah,
I think it was you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then right
really
on
slow, Jeremiah. Very. I was like
This is a 40-year-old
raging because I kept going because I knew I was a little bit early. I kept going. I came back around the courthouse and came back here, and then I was like, oh, that looks like the same truck. I was like, it's definitely Jeremiah.
I'll say this though: if I'm passing through there and somebody's trying to cross the road to get to the post office, I'll stop and let them by
Look at you,
because I'm a decent human being.
as you should.
Now Mark, he's reaching for a gear,
Yeah, I'm trying to
mowing down grandmas. I was being very slow and careful because it looks like on Tuesday nights, the Henry Township gym has basketball, and there were a bunch of people crossing the road to play basketball. There were a lot of pedestrians.
Very thoughtful, you two are.
Yeah, yeah. They didn't use the crosswalk that's not provided. Anything else in your final thoughts there, Zachary?
No, I don't think there's anything coming. I'm trying to think of Christmas walks. Like it's been over a week or whatever. The lights, the Christmas trees lit up, so the holidays are coming around. So enjoy
Christmas
that.
creep has been real. We've already had the Christmas
Yeah,
parade. The Christmas tree has been lit.
No, I'll say this: the Christmas parade has always been that date.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes much sense. I would push it a week if I were them, but they have chosen their date. It's probably as much due to weather as anything. I don't know what a week or two would matter, but it's always a Saturday before Thanksgiving at 4:00. I do not understand the Christmas tree lighting, which I think used to be after Thanksgiving, getting pushed up a week. I'm not.
It's Christmas creep.
Whatever they want to do, yeah. But like I said,
It's-
Thanksgiving.
Christmas starts on before Halloween in
It's
this
getting
household.
that way. See,
In this
I'll-
disturbing.
my very
Yeah,
short
swear.
soapbox thing is
Disturbing.
Not by choice.
Every time
Thanksgiving's a
you take
superior
something
holiday.
out before Thanksgiving, an elf gets shot. That's what happens.
I mean, I did before the
Gets off.
parade. I went to my mom's house. She lives on the parade route. I got her outside Christmas stuff put up. We did not turn anything on. We didn't plug anything in. I did the same in my house on Sunday, but nothing's going to get turned on until Thursday night or Friday. But because Thanksgiving is a superior holiday, because it's just about food and nothing else. Low pressure. It's
I
my
do
favorite.
love Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's all I got.
Mark, how do we get tattooed by you?
For the time being, just reach out directly as far as Instagram or Facebook Messenger, or if you are on a first name basis, you can call or text me at Black Sheep Tattoo Society in Greenfield. I am open to appointments, very selective appointments, arms and legs only for the time being. No, I will not tattoo your face or your neck. People do ask that. I am reminding people I still am
Will you
new
do
to
butts?
this. I will do butts.
That's
I will
a
do butts.
tall leg.
It's a very tall leg. It's a meaty part of the leg for some people. Yeah, arms, legs. I'm not tattooing your neck. Not for the time being. Just reminding people I'm still new. Better than I was. Still learning.
You didn't misspell anything on Dakota's.
No words.
No words, luckily. And that's a thing, too. That's really an issue. So I got, like, it didn't actually happen, but it was funny. Real quick story. A girl did come in to get a tattoo. She got some script, whatever. So she leaves the shop and, pulls out her phone and then takes the mirrored selfie. So it's backwards.
She's
Yeah.
freaking out.
She's panicking. And she, came back into the shop. He's like, hey, this is backward. And, he's looking at it like, what? No, it's not. He's like, go ask anybody and be like, hey, read this for me. Because she just sees it upside down. That really happened.
She needs to look at it in a mirror like there's an ambulance back there.
Well, no, she needs to get off TikTok and Pinterest and stop looking at shit like that.
Mark's-
Getting influence.
Mark's Instagram is at Merker, Merker, Mark.
Yes.
All one word.
Thank you
No.
for that.
Not safe for work. Dakota, final thoughts.
Thanks for coming on, Mark.
Thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
having me. And
Glad
thanks for
to
supporting
finally
me.
do a podcast with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Glad you're real. I was not convinced.
We've AI generated Dakota Davis for 7 years.
And thanks for tattooing me on Saturday. It was a good time. I don't really have anything. I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving. I enjoyed the nice long weekend that signals the start
The
of
beginning of the actual holidays.
right, and then my birthday, and then after my birthday, it kind of just slides downhill until Christmas time
until
next
the,
year.
Until the deep, dark abyss of winter takes over.
Yep.
So Thanksgiving, is it an appropriate? Because it's 4 days off of work for most office people. I know there are retail folks that get drug in, and there's other heroes that go work fire departments and police departments and all that stuff. But your nurses, all those folks, the true heroes. For the office people, it's a 4-day week, 4 days off. Don't have to burn a vacation day. Is it a total dick move to take a vacation? Like, not I'm going to go to Thanksgiving, but to just ghost on your family for that time and be like, I'm going to take a vacation.
No, my
only have to
parents
take
were planning on doing
2
that.
or 3 days off, and you can go anywhere you want to go. You can go skiing, you can go on a cruise, you can go to the beach.
My parents were going to Arkansas.
Yeah. They were going to go diamond mining. What the hell were they going to do in Arkansas?
Well,
I
what's
don't
their
know.
favorite dish?
I think that they were just gonna. I think that they were just finding the cheapest flights.
Just
You
just going to go to the Bill and Hillary Clinton place. Arkansas, they're big fans of dressing down there. Was it Arkansas or Alabama?
Maybe we learned that. And I already
White gravy.
It's not even on the list, is it?
Yeah, it's right there.
forgot. Arkansas is
Alabama,
not real.
Alaska, Arizona. It's out of with a
California,
Calif-
then Arkansas.
Better Homes and Gardens went on their listing. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, California, Arkansas, Colorado. Just all right. I'm sorry. So they were just going to go to Arkansas just for shits and giggles. Go find the birthplace of Johnny Cash.
Probably figure out why my grandpa lived there for so many years. I
All right.
liked it.
So it's not a total douche canoe move to jump on a plane and leave. I don't have the stones to do it, and it's going to be many years before I would. But I was looking at the calendar going, I could see why this is appealing. Also, and my other takeaway, the last couple weeks, I've had an alarming amount of time to watch movies. Watched a lot of old 90s
For no
movies.
particular
For no
reason.
particular reason. In the early 90s, the formula for making television and movies was so different. A lot more piano, a lot more dark, the dramas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize how many people got killed by car bombs in movies in the early 90s?
It's the IRA.
It was the IRA, right? It was just domestic terrorism. There were so many more car bombs
It's shocking
back
that
in the
everybody
day.
didn't own like a mirror on a stick that they
Yeah.
could check the chassis of their car as they pulled up.
I'm just laughing because I'm like, I've watched like two, and just in one movie, I've watched 2 people get killed by car bombs. I'm like, this was like as much of a concern as quicksand. When I was a kid, it was like there's car bombs everywhere.
Was
They're just
Goodfellas 90s?
yeah. What's that?
Was Goodfellas 90s?
Yeah, it would have been 80s, 90s. This particular one was the Pelican Brief, which is a Julia Roberts and
Oh, but isn't that who wrote that?
Grisham, John Grisham.
Yeah,
I believe.
I think I've read it.
But Tom Clancy, the Jack Ryan stuff. There were car bombs all through the 90s and stuff. It was constant. It was a plot device to kill people. Quickly, just didn't know it was coming, didn't know it was happening.
Obviously started by the Irish.
Yeah.
Drink.
There was a lot more concerns in the 80s and 90s about car bombs. That's
They
all
do
I'm saying.
not like that.
Not so much of a concern now at this point. Anyway, with that, enjoy your holiday. You might just get a mirror and look under the car before you go on that big road trip, but enjoy your holiday. We'll be back a week from Thursday. Zach won't, but everybody else will. Fun show next week. It's going to be racing, and Dakota's going to love it. See you then.